Oh, some of the sounds amidst the incredible sights of the Bills' thrilling comeback victory yesterday inside Highmark Stadium, 39-34 over the Cincinnati Bengals. Chris Brown on the Buffalo Bills radio network right there. You had a whole bunch of highlights, and there were a lot of highlights yesterday and a lot to get to today on a Buffalo Football Victory Monday here on WGR on the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show, presented by Catholic Health, the right way to care, and brought to you by Northwest Bank. For what's next, get started at northwest.com, and by Northtown Hyundai, Western New York's premier Hyundai dealership. Shop online at northtownhyundai.com. Sal Capaccio with you today. Welcome in, as always, on a Buffalo Football Monday, win or lose, but especially on a Victory Monday. Of course, we welcome your phone calls here at 803-0550. Get in now. We'll take your calls for the next 2 hours. We'll get to the Barnes Firm injury report. We'll get to our view from the sidelines. We will get to sit up, stand down, and hey, buddy a little bit later. I got a really good hey, buddy for you today, by the way. My hey, buddy is related to something that, I don't know, I kind of did something a little risque over the weekend. Maybe even illegal. Wasn't illegal, actually. But maybe unethical. I don't know. But I'll get to it a little bit later. It relates to my hey, buddy. Had a good time, but you be the judge. We'll do that. But before we get to all that, we got to get to what happened yesterday on the field and welcome you in, whether that's listening on WGR Sports Radio 550 on the Odyssey app or watching on our YouTube stream and on Twitch. And anytime we have us on and have this show on the YouTube stream and on Twitch, want to welcome in the bullpen. What's up, AC Man? What's up, Bill? We got Go Buffalo Bills. We got Steve in there. Who else? Black Cloud, Dylan, thank you very much. Just running through some of the names here. Billy the Buffalo. Is that really the Billy the Buffalo? Is the Billy the Buffalo mascot in there? Not really sure. We got IDL 716, thank you. Chop Shop. So thank you all for coming in. Hot Dirt, what's up? J Bud. New Dave. As always, like to say hi to you. And then you guys keep the chat rolling in there. Every once in a while, maybe during a break, I pop in, but I need to do the show here today. So the chat is for you. The chat is for you to comment along with each other and listen to the radio show, and I appreciate that. So thanks a lot for everybody for coming in, whether it's the bullpen, Grubinator, Mike Clark, thank you so much, Robert as well, and all of you. 803-0550. Where to start in this one? We can really start a lot of different ways, and I understand that there's going to be some things that you didn't like about this game. There's going to be some things that concern you about this game, but the bottom line is the Bills did what they had to do in this game to win. And they won it in a way that many people have questioned, can they win a game like this? Can they win a game where they have to get into a shootout with an elite offense, elite quarterback, Joe Burrow on the other side? There's no doubt about it. And they did. They won it, and nobody's going to confuse the Cincinnati Bengals defense with the 85 Bears, that's for sure, right? But when you go against a defense that gives you opportunity, you have to take advantage of those opportunities. And that's what the Bills did yesterday with their MVP quarterback. And Josh Allen played like an MVP yesterday. And we get a lot of times, people call in, national talking heads will say, boy, they're just asking Josh to do too much. They can't do anything unless he puts the cape on. And I'm not telling you that's not true. But folks, let me explain something to you. That's the difference in professional sports. You know, when you're in Pee Wee in high school, if you have somebody who's just really head and shoulders above everybody, you just dominate. You go out there and you win a basketball game by 45 because you got the super tall kid and no one else can defend him. You just get him the ball in the paint and he shoots and he scores or whatever. You get a running back that's super fast and nobody can catch him. You run toss sweep. He's running over kids. He's running around kids. Looks like one of those mascot little kid football games, right? That's what happens. And you get to a high school level, it's a little different, but then you still have that elite talent that separates, and that's why you get your 70-30, local high school rivalry game on Friday night. Then you get to college, and when you're actually dealing with, D1 athletes and not having a disparity in the type of level, even if you have great players, you still have an opportunity to try and beat them because you also have really good players and they're on scholarship and all of that. But generally the cream rises to the top, which is why you see Georgia and Alabama and all these SEC, Indiana, shout out, Ohio State, all these teams getting to the level they are at consistently every year with the top talent. That's not the case all the time in the NFL. It's not the case. I want to remind everybody all the time, because I think we lose sight in this when we talk about the Bills. And I say all the time, we see the Bills fans see the Bills through their own lens, through their own prism. This completely tunnel vision. you have. And if you're just watching the Bills and only watching highlights of other teams, you think, why can't my team do all these other great things these teams do and my team makes all these mistakes? It's just not true, right? It's just not true. You have to be able to understand how other teams operate and how sports work. They're having these conversations that we have about the Bills' struggles in every market almost every week. Even the teams like Denver, New England, the Eagles, right? The Chiefs, look what's going on there. But the point I'm making is this. When I hear, boy, they're nothing, they got to have Josh Allen put on the cape. Sure, that might be the case. But in professional sports, when everybody is so great and everybody gets paid a lot of money and you have the best of the best talent in the world, that is the difference. Having maybe that one elite player who can make a difference in the most critical of moments. Pick your sport. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, whatever NBA player you want to put at the top of the pedestal and say, when that guy was at his best, that was the difference in the game. There were games where that player could be shut down. There were times they didn't win championships or even get there. But when that guy's at his best, that's the difference in the game because the margin, not for error, the margin between talent from a top to a bottom of a roster on every team in the league is not much. The margin of the top talent from one team to the next is not much. But that one guy matters so much in every sport. Baseball, same way. You have an Aaron Judge, right? You have a Guerrero, whatever. I use Vlad now. He's a great player. But pick your guy, a Barry Bonds, right? An elite pitcher, a Paul Skeens. It doesn't matter. What a lot of the players do around them sometimes, if they rise to their top level, that could be the ultimate difference, and that's what you need. The Bills have that guy. They have that one guy who can make a difference. Why would you not want him to be the guy you put the ball in the hands of to have to win the game for you? Sure, it's a lot to ask. I get it. But other teams don't have the opportunity to ask their guy to do that because he's not good enough. The Bengals have a really good one in Burrow. And when you have a Burrow on the other side, and you know that he's the difference, and he's an elite playmaker and quarterback, and he's got those guys to throw to, you better just be punching your way the whole game, finding a way to stay alive, and then you get your shot. And then you have your guy do his thing. That's what happened yesterday. Yesterday's a great lesson in a couple of things for us, okay? Number one, the Bills have maybe, arguably, the greatest player in the sport. And yesterday was the difference of having the greatest player in the sport for the few different plays that he had to matter. And he did it. And he played like the greatest player in the sport and the MVP. That's what he played like yesterday. Whether you want to argue he's the MVP this year or not doesn't matter. He was the MVP last year because he was so great, and he is great. And the second thing we learned yesterday, great lesson in sports. Kids, remember, just keep playing. Just keep playing until you get your shot. Years ago, I used to, before the Chiefs run now, before they got Mahomes, that's what always actually impressed me about Andy Reid's teams. Andy Reid in Philly and then in Kansas City in his early years, he had a couple of lean ones, but every time I would watch like an Andy Reid team, I'd be like, man, this guy just keeps playing the game. He just keeps playing the game. Then ultimately, his team makes a play that the other team doesn't make. They're not ready for. Yesterday was a great example to carry with you in sports, to carry with you in life. You just keep playing. It might not turn out your way in the end, but you're going to take body blows and you're going to take shots. And it's going to suck at times. And you're going to look up at the scoreboard and go, holy cow, we're down 14-3. Holy cow, we're down 21-11. Holy cow, we're down 10 points in the fourth quarter. But you have to still keep playing because eventually all it takes is one play to change what's happening. And it happened yesterday with Christian Benford, the one play. Now, Josh made some plays. The offense did before that, of course. But that play, take the shots, but just keep playing. The Bills were down 10 points. Midway through the fourth quarter, they get the ball. They have a sense of urgency. What happens? 4 plays later, Josh Allen takes off 40 yards. They just kept playing. They knew, we got to keep playing. We got to keep playing. We can score here. They score. Suddenly it's a 3-point game. Once it became a 3-point game, you're like, okay, just get a stop. It reminded me of the Ravens game, week 1. I said after the Ravens game, everybody asked me what it was like. I said, I just kept saying, get a stop. You can win this game. They not only got the stop turned into a 6. Turned into a Christian Benford pick 6. Changed the whole complexity of the game. And then now since he starts to press a little bit, right, maybe they do. Who knows what happens on the next play? Jordan Phillips gets his hand up, knocks the ball, goes into the arms of A.J. Epinesa. Game is completely flipped. You know why? Because the Bills kept playing. Keep playing. Were things perfect? No. Did the defense have its struggles? Yes. You're playing an elite offense with elite talent. Back to my original point. You just keep playing, man. And the Bills did that, and it's a great lesson in sports. If you are a young athlete, if you are a coach of a young athlete, a parent of a young athlete, great lesson yesterday that you keep playing and you keep fighting. Because the other team's going to make plays. Despite what you see on Red Zone channel every week and everybody making the most amazing plays and your team is getting beat up on or losing out or, getting scored on. It doesn't seem like everybody else is doing this. That's not the way the reality is of sports, okay? It's just not. Keep playing. The Bills did yesterday. They won the game 39-34. It was incredible. Incredible atmosphere yesterday inside Highmark Stadium. Taking your calls here on a Buffalo Football Victory Monday. Got the Victory Monday shirt on. We are live on the YouTube stream, on Twitch as well. Sal Capaccio with you, 803-0550. Lost in the shuffle of Josh Allen's incredible plays, the 40-yard run, the throw to Khalil Shakir, the 4th downs, the run at the end of the game. Lost in all of that. He was damn good through the air efficiently, too. 22 of 28 in the snow, 28 attempts. He completes 22. That's close to 79%, 251 yards. And give Joe Brady credit. I know you love to say how much you hate his play calls, and there were a couple 3rd downs I did not like from Joe Brady. But you know what he did? The game plan was great. Your job as a coordinator is to attack the other team's weakness, to exploit where they are vulnerable. We said all week. I came on this radio station every day part last week and said, tight ends, tight ends, tight ends. Shout out to Joe Goodberry, who covers the Bengals, who was on It's Always Game Day in Buffalo, who gave us the great stat about how terrible the Bengals had been against tight ends. I went back and looked and said, oh, my God, yeah, the tight ends are eating on this team. You know what the Bills did? They said, we're going to have tight ends eat. And that's what they did. Great game plan by Joe Brady. Right off the bat, 32-yard pass to Dawson Knox. You knew it was going to be a tight end game. Knox, Kincaid, Jackson Hawes, 11 catches, 137 yards. Knox with a 2-point conversion. Kincaid with a touchdown. Hawes with a touchdown. Great job. And great job by Sean McDermott to be aggressive. He had to. He knew his defense was up against it. He knew they weren't stopping the Bengals very much. They got some stops later. Good job by the defensive coaching staff for adjustments, but McDermott had to be aggressive. I actually thought he was maybe even a little bit reckless early in the game with some of the aggressiveness, to be honest with you. But it worked out. I don't want to be results-oriented, but the process, you understand. Even if you didn't agree, you understand. You got to keep getting points against a team like that, and they did. And the Bills yesterday were very aggressive. Sean McDermott was very aggressive. They had to be, and it worked out for them. In fact, Sean McDermott's aggressiveness yesterday went for it on 4th down at the Bengals' 3-yard line, up only 4 points with a chance to go up 7. Who doesn't take this points there? He didn't. Most teams just go up 7 and go, we're going to be okay. They still have to get 7 to tie. My thought was, I thought they should have and would have gone for the field goal. The thing that scared me was you got a Bengals team then that if they do score a touchdown, they could go for 2 and beat you. The Bills said, we're not chancing it. We're going for it here on 4th down. 3:09 left. They get it. They convert. Bills take a there was a penalty on the Bengals that they took instead of 15 yards. They move it closer and go for 2, and they convert. It's the first time they converted a 2-point conversion in 20 contests. Pretty amazing. And we can get to Christian Benford, the defense, and a lot more here. I could keep going on and on, but let's turn it over to you here. It's been already long enough to not take your call, so we'll do it. 803-0550. Billy in Toronto's up first. Hi, Billy. What's up?
Yeah, hey Sal. Yeah, boy, is Benford had a couple of weeks or what? But Sal, listen. I've been positive. I told you this team's going to win the Super Bowl. I don't know about yesterday's game. I didn't like it, and I'll tell you, I thought. I mean, of course, Josh aside, that's our savior all the time. But can we please get up on somebody 14-0 and then blow their doors off? Do we always have to come back like this? And let's be real. I mean, yes, they were great, two great defensive plays, but I don't know what Burrow was doing on that. It looked like he tried to shot put the football, and to break it down even on another side. I mean, Josh Allen's my favorite athlete, but Joe Burrow's right behind him. I love those two guys, 1-2. You can put Mahomes in the closet because I don't think Mahomes is as good as either one of these two guys. But anyway, listen, it was a win. I'll take it, but we can't keep relying on these, I'm going to call them fluke defensive plays.
They're not, okay, well, they're not fluke. Are they fluke when they happen against you?
No, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I know, Billy, but again, let's go back to what I said earlier. That's a design. That's a scheme. That's not a fluke. Christian Benford's interception isn't a fluke. They put him in position to make a play, and he made a play. No,
but Sal, I understand what you're saying. When you throw a pass over the middle and the guy jumps the route and returns it, that play was incredible. Where Burrow can't get it over him and he just leaps. You don't see that. You see that play once every 10 years in football. I'm happy for the win, Sal.
What about was it what's a fluke? Fluke is falling down on your way to the end zone. How about ripping the ball out? Give the Bengals credit. Look, the other thing, the Bills could have scored 50 in this game as well, and I get it. Defensively, I know you're mad. I don't think there's anything to be super mad about. I get it. Again, I'll say every game has its own DNA. I say it all the time. You're not playing the Steelers this week. You're playing the Bengals. You're not playing the Bengals next week. You're playing the Patriots. The game's going to unfold differently. I understand. You're upset because they gave up a lot of points. Man, you're playing a really great offense. The Bills weren't perfect. They made good adjustments. They made plays. Don't call it a fluke what Christian Benford did. I'll tell you that. That's good design. That's good execution. That's good thought process. And it's a great play by him. Mike in Denver. What's up, Mike?
Yes. Good morning. I wanted to compliment you on your arrow up, arrow down. I mean, especially your arrow down when it comes to three players, and that's Greg Rousseau and Cam Lewis and Teron Johnson, looking back, I look back at the last three game statistics for Greg Rousseau. He's had 3 solo tackles in the last 3 games, 0 sacks. And he doesn't make any real spectacular plays, and I know you don't need players to always be spectacular as long as they're doing their job. But I don't even know if he's doing his job that well when it's all said and done. It's getting pretty close to putting him on a milk carton. I mean, he's definitely been MIA this year, and I think for his salary, for what he makes, he needs to do more. And Johnson, that guy, I think he's living off his past, reputation or what have you. I mean, I know he made that big play in the Baltimore game, but he really hasn't done too much that I can think of lately. He always seems to be a step or two behind, and Cam Lewis is a little bit undersized, so I realize they're going to be going after him. But I did want to comment on the offense, and I got to give McDermott credit for these last 2 games. He's done him and his staff have done an excellent coaching job considering the injuries and considering who they've played. I realize that maybe the Steelers weren't necessarily, a great team, but, if they start to run the ball on you, then they can be a little bit dangerous, and I think the Bills have pretty much shut down the run these last 2 weeks. And one other thing that I didn't want to be overlooked was that 2-point conversion, because that was an important play when it all comes down, to analyzing this game because Cincinnati, when they scored that last touchdown there, they had to go for 2 points to make it only a field goal game if they had a chance to get the ball back. And that would have been huge, but as it turns out, they couldn't convert on that 2-point conversion when they had their chance. And so I just wanted to bring all that up.
Yeah,
Thank
you got it, Mike. You got it. Thanks for the phone call. I was very surprised the Bengals didn't go for an onside kick, by the way. If I'm in Cincinnati doing this show today, I'm wondering why they didn't try an onside kick. I understand they got the Bills into a 3rd and 15 anyway, but either way, you got to get the ball back no matter if the Bills have it at their own, at midfield or not. Like, they had to get the ball back, and that would have been a better opportunity. They had 1 timeout and the 2-minute warning. I thought they should have. Rousseau has not showed up as a pass rusher. There's no doubt. I agree, Mike. Taron Johnson has definitely not had the same impact this year as we've been used to seeing him. I think that's a very big product of teams getting bigger on the offensive side and Taron getting older. And Cam Lewis, they just took advantage of his size yesterday. That was a tough matchup for him, and no excuse. I mean, he didn't have a very good game, but it was a very tough matchup for him, putting big tight ends and Samaje Perine on him. So no doubt. Anthony in New York City. Hi, Anthony. What's up?
How you doing, Sal?
Good, thanks.
Falcons and tight ends. Cincinnati tight end was killing us in the first half.
What?
What's his name?
I'm sorry, what?
The Bengals tight end. He was killing us in the first half.
Gesicki?
Yes.
Okay.
He kind of killed us in the first half, too.
Okay. Yep. Well, they've done a great job against tight ends this year, and then that game they didn't. They've done a really great job. The Bills are actually one of the best teams in the NFL this year against tight ends. Now, I know they haven't played world-beating tight ends all year, but they actually have done a really good job. You know what the Bengals did yesterday? They said, you're going to have Cam Lewis on our tight ends? We're going to go at him because he's small, and we're going to take advantage. And that's a great job by the Bengals and not a great job by the Bills and Cam Lewis. But, I'll go back to what I said at the beginning of the show. Give the other team credit. They had a good game plan to attack something they saw with the Bills. You'd love the Bills to have all pros everywhere on the team. They don't. Cam Lewis is a very small player. He's tough, but he's like the smallest guy on the defense. And when he's out there in dime, the Bengals took advantage of him. Okay. We're 4 phone calls in, and I think we have more complaints than we have people being happy, actually, to be quite honest with you. That's okay. That's what this show is for. But we'll take a time out here, and we'll come back on the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show.